Of all the bass species, my favorite one to catch is a smallmouth bass. He's a hard fighting fish and can really be a challenge. There are some great smallmouth fisheries in the Southwest in Tennessee and Kentucky and Georgia and North Carolina. The state of Oklahoma has produced some of the best smallmouth bass fishing anywhere across the region. And on today's show, we're going to visit one of those best fisheries at Lake Tenkiller, the eastern part of the state. It's a gorgeous place. Come along with us. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
It is a dreary, foggy, misty, cold, nasty kind of a springtime day in eastern Oklahoma. But that can be just the kind of a day where you can catch some bass. Hi everybody, and welcome to beautiful Tenkiller Lake, located just a little bit east of Gore, Oklahoma. What a wonderful place this is. It's got everything I like. Deep, gin clear water, beautiful rocky cliffs everywhere, and it's loaded with crappie and catfish and largemouth bass. And Tenkiller may just be one of the best smallmouth bass fisheries in the entire state of Oklahoma. On today's show, not only are we going to go out and try to catch a few of those fish, but we'll try to give you some information on what the bass are doing right now across our region. You know, we finally have some spawning activity going on, some fish up in shallow water. I'll tell you how you can find and target those fish in your favorite lake, just like you can right here on beautiful Lake Tenkiller. And we're taking you around the region for all of your latest fishing reports from our team of insider reporters. Gonna have a lot of fun right now. Let's get the Nitro Z8 launched into Tenkiller Lake. We take you to the FSN studios. Here's your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are forecasting Sunday as the best fishing day of the weekend, with peak activity beginning at 5:59 a.m. and 6:22 p.m. Expect sunrise to take place at 6:46 in the morning, with sunset happening at 8:04 p.m. And evenings will feature a moon that is 57% visible. We'll be right back with all of the current fishing reports from around the area. And I'll return with professional angler Edwin Evers to answer your Ask the Pro question. But first, here's a peek at some photos from the Costa Catch of the Week contest. These contestants did not win, but we still thought you might want to enjoy some of these nice catches.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And by Lowrance Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
There he is, he's got it. Got him. Coming up, Smalley. Nice smallmouth. All right, I'm up here where I can get Got him. All right. Hey, there's a way to get it going right there. Welcome back, everybody. Got him on a little grub right there. Little rally grub. There's a nice smallmouth bass for you to get things started. Little, about a 3-pound chunk, something like that. Cloudy, overcast day. It's trying to lighten up just a little bit here, but we're gonna gently ease that fish back in here. There's the key, right there in front of us. That is a major creek. It goes right around that corner and back in the back. We've had a really late winter this year. The water temperature has been slow to warm up this year. All the fish are behind schedule, especially with their spawns. So these bass should basically, most of them should have spawned by now, and they haven't. We've got pre-spawn fish that have not spawned yet. We've got some that are up spawning now, some that have already spawned and are moving back out. So instead of going up and trying to fish for the spawning fish, I've stayed outside here. Fish seem to be really finicky. They're not really wanting to bite. I don't know why. So what I'm having to do is take this rally grub, show that to you at the end on a spinning rod. By the way, I got to show you the spinning rod later. This is unbelievable. Best spinning rods that I've ever fished. Lewis has come out with a brand new custom series. I'm letting this thing go all the way to the bottom on a pretty heavy head. These outside banks outside the creek are where the fish are either going to stay before they spawn, or after they spawn, they're going to come back out here. So what I'm doing is watching my graph, and I'm staying out here in about 20 feet of water or so, and I'm just easing this thing along. I'm almost like dead sticking it, just letting that little tail swim along. That's how that one bit it. I'm actually seeing a few fish on my fish finder here on my Lowrance HDS 9 up front. I'm watching it closely, and I'll actually see some bait fish and a few fish scattered along. I told you we'd catch smallmouth today. We'll see what else happens, but hopefully the sun breaks out here and we get a little nicer day going. Let's get you started with some fishing and lake reports. Here's Brian Hughes in Texas and Bill Olson on the Texas Gulf Coast.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you by the 11th annual Legend of Lake Fork Big Bass Tournament, reminding you that all makes and models of boat are welcome, and they're paying out 8 places each hour each day and have 5 Legend boats up for grabs. Now there's been a lot said and written about Lake Austin lately. That's because Texas Parks and Wildlife used grass carp to control the vegetation. Now that drastically changes the fishery. Although the fish are still there, because the prey don't have the grass beds to hide in, they're going to look to man-made cover for their sanctuaries. That means boat docks, brush piles, and then offshore structure for the bait fish. You will need to change your approach in order to catch Lake Austin fish. First of all, use your Texas rigs and spinner baits and Senkos around the docks and the brush piles. And of course, locate that offshore structure where the bait fish swim and use A-rigs and or deep diving crankbaits. Now, a Texas Parks and Wildlife success story is Lake Whitney, where it was decimated by the golden algae a few years ago. They have aggressively stocked striper species back in the lake, and they are very, very catchable at this time. Fish off the state park bank toward the river channel and around the island with your standard striper baits, depending on whether you find the fish on top or in the deeper water. That will determine how you're going to go. Slabs or topwaters will work depending on where you find the fish. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the Legend of Lake Fork Big Bass Tournament, May 15, 16, and 17 on legendary Lake Fork. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, there's good news and some not good news. The good news is anglers are still catching fish. The not so good news is on parts of the Texas coast, anglers are having to work for the fish by fishing under some fresh water or in water with a brown algae bloom. On Sabine Lake, Trinity, and Galveston, anglers are seeing another round of runoff from recent rains. Plus some higher tides are in the mix. With the higher tides on Sabine, this takes the shorelines out, with best results coming over clamshell in 4 to 5 feet of water. Shell structure in lower Galveston is also producing. Aggressively fishing live bait or soft plastics under a rattling float has been best. Now, similar tactics are working in the upper Laguna Madre, where a brown algae bloom has occurred from the JFK Causeway southward to the mouth of Baffin Bay. Fish are being caught. You just have to rattle them up or use live bait. Now, the hot spot this week is from the land cut southward to Port Mansfield and on to Port Isabel. Port Mansfield anglers are catching fish around the mouth and up into the land cut. The color line at the convention center is holding trout. South Bay has trout, reds, sheepshead, and drum hitting most bays. Mexiquita Flat has speckled trout and reds, while the causeways have specks and sheepshead, all hitting live shrimp. Out of Port Isabel from Holly Beach to south of Cullens, trout and scattered reds have hit live shrimp under a popping cork on windy days. This weekend, Saturday has a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide. This Sunday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Got him. All right, hey, welcome back everybody. We're still on Tenkiller Lake, but something dramatic has changed. That's that, oh, that's good smallie right there. Cameraman has left the boat. He got a phone call and had to leave. And so it's left you and me and a camera and a tripod. So I've got this tripod set up right now. Don't jump. Yeah, got him. And so we're gonna do the rest of this solo. We got another nice smallmouth right there. Caught that one on a drop shot rig. That's a little Gene LaRue tattletale worm. I'll show that to you as well at the end. There's my little drop shot hook on the bottom. There's my little worm. Again, fishing out here fairly deep, almost a vertical presentation. And boy, what a beautiful smallmouth bass that is. Look at the mottled color on his sides, the dark bars there. Again, a good solid fish, about 3.5 pounds. We're gonna let this fish go back. See you there, buddy. You can be fishing the right bait, you can be doing the right presentation, but if you don't get in the right location, you're not gonna catch any fish. So here's the deal. This time of the year, in the springtime, when you've got pre-spawn, spawning, and post-spawn bass, you need to be in the kind of a spot that will hold all three kinds of fish. You can see this is a big bay. Coming into this bay, there are 3 or 4 major ditches, and these are all spawning ditches, migration routes. The bass will come out of deep water where they've been all winter, migrate up on these points in between the ditches, follow those ditches to the back. They'll spawn up in about 3 to 6 feet of water, something like that. When they're done, they will migrate back out those ditches, back to the ends of those points. So if you're fishing this kind of an area, you're eligible to catch a pre-spawn bass, you can catch a spawner in the backs of those ditches, and you can catch a bass that's already spawned. And you can see behind me here, in fact, I'll try to get out of the way. We are out, I'm gonna say probably 300 yards from the nearest shore. It's fishing these ditches. They're about 10, 12 feet on top, and they fall off real deep, 30, 40 feet on the sides in the middle of these little channels. Perfect spawning locations for bass to migrate up there and spawn. Find a spot like this in your local lake, you're eligible to get bit. Hey, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your neck of the woods.
Hey, lots of big bass and big crappie being caught across the state of Oklahoma at this time. But guess what species has actually been broken as far as the state record? A rainbow trout. Caught by Paul Glover on April 4th below Tenkiller Dam in the lower Illinois River. Caught it on a home tide fly. Beautiful fish, Paul. Way to go on that catch. As far as the rest of the state, lots of good, strong reports coming in from many areas, and it's more about what to be doing instead of where to be going at this time of year. If you're fishing a body of water that is either coming up or has come up, you can go to the back of the creeks, the back of the pockets, get shallow, throw a buzzbait over the flooded brush, or pitch a soft plastic into the middle of it. A really good choice for a soft plastic right now is the LaRue Who Daddy Jr. In the case of the crappie, 2 things there. If the lake is stable, you can go to the banks, you can catch them shallow just on a jig, or you can fish that jig underneath the cork about 15 to 18 inches deep. If they're not on the banks, or if the water has receded and pulled back out of the cover along the banks, you can get in front of those spawning banks about 5 to 7 feet deep right now, catch those fish on the break line or in the brush piles in front of those spawning banks. Jumped in the boat with Gary Rowe, that's exactly what we did on Fort Gibson Lake, catching some nice crappie out of the brush piles in front of those spawning banks. Gary always likes to go with the traditional shad colors of baby shad. He likes the pearl, threadfin shad, monkey milk, glacier, versions like that. And of course, anytime you're throwing that baby shad, you got a good chance of catching any species. You caught a nice largemouth bass, and of course, you're always going to pick up some drum here in Oklahoma. A lot of fun. April's a great fishing month, but one thing about it, you can't catch it if you don't go.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Buy Lose, setting a new standard of fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And by Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
Hey, welcome back everybody to beautiful Lake Tenkiller in eastern Oklahoma. I want to talk to you just a couple of minutes about smallmouth bass. Now, let me start off by showing you a little bit of bad footage from yesterday. I was here by myself and put my little GoPro camera suction cupped onto my windshield. It was pouring rain all day yesterday, and I just put my rain suit on and fished through it anyway. caught several fish doing the exact same thing I'm doing now, and that's just dead sticking this little soft plastic rally grub out here in a little bit deeper water, 20 to 25 feet deep. As you're watching this video, let me tell you about smallmouth bass. First of all, they love deeper water. You'll typically catch a smallmouth deeper than you will a largemouth, so you want to fish deeper. Secondly, you got to be fishing in fairly clear water. They don't like mud. Thirdly, they like cooler water than a largemouth does. They'll typically be found in lakes that have deep water because they can run to that cool water when it really gets hot in the summertime, as it can here in the south and the southwest. And then also, they're very light sensitive, which also drives them a little deeper. If you get a bright sunny day, you're typically going to catch them in fairly deep water. You want to use light fluorocast line, strand line. I'll show you the package so you can look for it in your store a little bit later. Thin, small diameter line and small plastic baits to catch them, especially when the sun is out. Right now, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your neck of the woods. Here's Cajun Phil and Kevin in Louisiana.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard along with Captain Carlos Garcia here with Cajun Paradise Lodge and Charters. Tell you what, most of these fish came in 2 to 6 feet of water. The key today was the moving water. We had to find clear water and moving water, which there wasn't a whole lot of clear water to find. But trout fishing will be picking up through the next couple weeks. You can see we got a few quality fish here. The whole Louisiana coast right now, a lot of fish getting caught. Redfish mostly in your broken marshes on spoons. Soft plastic, the trout, they're starting to hit on some plastics over your oyster beds. And like I said, 2 to 6 feet of water seems to be the key. Right now, we're going to turn it over to old Cajun Phil, see what's going on in the bass scene.
I tell you what, Fred. Yeah, it's a little dark. The reason why the clouds are dark. It's been dark. It's been raining. It's been flooding. It's been horrible for the last couple of weeks is all I could say. Yesterday, Captain Kevin and I got in our truck. We drove from Lake Charles to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I tell you what, we did not pass over one creek, one bayou, one body of water that wasn't high and very, very muddy. Therefore, our report is, don't go. About the only places that is reporting any decent water is places like Lacassine Reserve, Sabine Reserve, places, the Big Burn area, places that are big, huge marsh areas, the waters are pretty. Other than that, your regular small ponds, your lakes, places that we normally like to talk about, friends, it's high and it's muddy.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Introducing the XI5 for ultimate boat control. By Fort Worth Nissan. Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for your Ask the Pro question. This week, Chad wants to know, how long should you fish an area that looks good but isn't producing? We asked Bassmaster angler Edwin Evers for the answer.
In my opinion, I think, if you're not getting bit, the area may look great, it may have all the characteristics, you've tried shallow, you've tried deep, you've tried in between, you've tried, changing your retrieves, maybe speeding it up or really slowing it down. If you're not getting bit, you need to move on. 90% of the bass live in 10% of the lake, so just because it looks good doesn't mean there's bass there.
Thanks, Edwin. If you have a question for one of the anglers, visit our website, follow the Ask the Pro link on the side of the page, and let us know. Now, one of our viewers is about to win a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Our big winner this week in the Costa Catch of the Week contest is Charles Jewell of Hillton, Oklahoma. Look at this one. He's showing off a 12-pound, 4-ounce largemouth bass he caught to break the lake record at Lake Murray just south of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Congratulations, Charles. Brand new lake record at Lake Murray. If you would like to enter our contest, have a chance to be our next winner, all you have to do is go to our website, foxsportsoutdoors.com, and on the right side of the front page, click in the Costa Catch of the Week area, follow the instructions, send us your big fish photo, and you could be our next grand prize winner of a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses each week. If you'd like to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, just go to the Costa website, you go back to the front page of our website and click on the Costa logo. There you'll see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, including the frame style I was wearing on this week's episode called Brine. On the Academy Right Stuff, I want to show you some great gear to catch smallmouth bass and largemouth bass for that matter, beginning with my brand new all-time favorite spinning rod. This is the new Lew's Custom Speed Stick Series, and you can tell it by the white handle just up here in front of the handle and down on the butt. It's a fantastic feeling rod, and they've got one for every technique imaginable, including the one I was using today, the shaky head rod. And you can see it's got the perfect tip right there. See all that flex and that give and that sensitivity in the tip, but it's got lots of backbone down here in the business end of the rod. Had it spooled up today with 10-pound test Stren fluorocast line. It's very important to use fluorocast. This water on Tenkiller, as in many smallmouth lakes, is absolutely gin clear. And I caught most of the fish I caught today on a 1/4 ounce lead jig head, and I had it tipped with the Jean LaRue Rowley Grub, and that's kind of a smoke color, has a great swimming tail action. We Americans live in a right now society. We're a very impatient people. We want what we want when we want it. We swipe credit cards and make fast purchases and run up a lot of debt. We take out loans that we really can't afford. We eat what we want to eat when we want to eat it, and we try to be first in line. I've learned in my lifetime through lots of mistakes that many times good things come to those who wait. Most things that are worthwhile are worth being patient and waiting a little bit for. In fact, there's an old pastor and evangelist named Bob Jones. Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, he started Bob Jones University in Greenville, South Carolina. He said this: "Never sacrifice the permanent on the altar of the immediate." Words for the wise from an old pastor. Hey, I'm so glad you joined us today on Lake Tenkiller, just east of Gore, Oklahoma. Great smallmouth bass fishery if you'd like to come here and catch some of these fish. Don't forget to join us for next week's show. We'll be on at our usual time slot, 10:30 Thursday night, with the repeat airing Saturday morning at 7:30. Also, don't forget you can catch the latest episode of our show all the time on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. And very important, you can catch up on any shows you missed and get lots of how-to videos by clicking on the past episodes and more video here link right below the big video window. Be sure to follow us on the Twitter feed to get lots of video and photos and the very latest fishing news day by day that you'll never see here on the television show, plus lots of great gear we're giving away on the Twitter feed as well. In fact, right now we're giving away a brand new Fox Sports Outdoors jersey like the ones that I wear here on the show, and I'll autograph that for you as well. Get the details on the Twitter feed, the Twitter address you see there. From scenic Tenkiller Lake in eastern Oklahoma, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.